Hello and good morning. How are you doing today, Miss Charlotte?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Actually, it's my afternoon, but never mind.
Yeah, you're already in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
I got to tell you, this movie touches me in a really incredible way because I lived that life of Sam where my grandmother and I had a moment, and I'm just so proud of Sam for hanging in there. And I just wish I could have had that same spirit as Sam does in this movie.
Yeah. Great. It's lovely when stories really do resound in other people's lives. That's what makes cinema great, I think. Yeah.
And what's interesting is that Matthew Seville, this is based on something that happened in his life, which even draws me even closer to the story.
Yeah, exactly. It was very much his story. Yeah.
What drew you to the journey of making this into a movie? Because I mean, you are the perfect role of Ruth.
Well, I guess that's what I sort of felt when I first read the story, and it's one of those very simple stories. You start reading it, you think, oh yeah, I think I know what's going to be happening here. You get pulled in, and you get pulled in more and more because the way that Matthew handles how he gives all the information to us. Because I mean, when you think about it, many stories have been told. There are only so many stories, I guess, in that can be told, but they're told in so many different ways. But I agree with you that this one has a special pull to it. There's something, without being sentimental, it just pulls you right into a place where it's heartbreaking, and then it's no longer heartbreaking because it works itself through.
Mm-hmm. It's very relatable in the way that when Sam is told that, like it or not, he has to get in there and take care of Ruth. I mean, I love the strength of his father and the way that Sam, he had better get in there and change his life in the way he's thinking, because this has got to work. Families have got to work together.
Yeah, we have to find a way, and it's like that kind of almost, unspoken. They don't actually say it, but that's what has to happen, And it's so right, because if families don't find ways through, then they're sort of broken most of their life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I lived it. I lived it, because that's my last memory of my grandmother, is that I did not go back, and I wish I would have been a Sam.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Because this is going to create conversation in the way that every family has a secret, and it's things like this that they keep hidden away, and it's one of the but hopefully it creates the conversation in the way of, we've got to heal what's going on. That's how important this movie is to me.
Yeah. Well, that's really good that you say that, because I certainly, when I knew I was going to be going to New Zealand, and it's a long way, although I knew New Zealand, but my first husband was in New Zealand, and my son is half New Zealand, and I've been to the country 2 or 3 times before, but it's still an awful long way to go. It's sort of it's very far out when you go to New Zealand. And I didn't know much about Matthew. He came here, and we talked through it for 3 days, so we had a real brainstorm about it. And I knew that I just had to go because of what you're saying, the pull of this film, the strength of it, the strength of what it's able to make you feel about how important certain things are to get to heal in a family. They must be allowed to, must be given that chance.
What was it, the writing that drew you in? And because the reason why is because Ruth admits that she likes the sunrise over the sunset. That caught my attention in a really big way, because I'm also a sunrise person. I thought I was the only one here.
No, you're not the only one. I am too, right. Yeah, perhaps people just don't talk about it. Maybe that's more secret, but that's a good secret to have. You can just sit there quietly alone, and it's a very, very special moment. Yeah.
And isn't it odd that how Ruth's character has, when she injures her leg, that's what really kind of breaks the ice and has to recreate this family. It almost always takes and it's almost, maybe this is a reminder, it may take a bad moment in order to create the happiest of times.
Well, it usually does, and that's what, all the philosophies, say in their different ways, and all the psychologists say it too. It is, sometimes you have to have a real crash, in a way, to make you realize that something is not going in the right direction, and you need to wake up and listen and do things differently.
The reason of going to New Zealand, is that because Matthew is from that area?
Absolutely, it was a New Zealand-made film. He's from New Zealand. All the I was the only English girl there.
Wow.
Everyone was New Zealand. So it was also, which was really what I liked. It's a very real experience, because it was not only his story in a way, obviously, change in the realization when actors come in, and it's not quite the same situation, but basically it was the same. So there's something very truthful about it. You feel that there's truth in there.
Mm-hmm. Was there something you learned from Ruth playing out the role? Was there a message that you personally picked up out of it?
I'm sure. I don't know whether I can actually say, if I'm able to say what they are, but I know that when I take on characters, it's to go on a journey with them, for them to take me to places perhaps not necessarily that I haven't been to, but just go to the edge, and maybe sometimes fall over and then get up again.
Well, the movie is one of those films that has got to be experienced inside the theater. I mean, it really is a brilliant display. Everything in the background to right up close and personal. Juniper is just the movie to see. It's a great date night movie for every generation.
Yeah, well, it's wonderful to hear you saying that, because I think it's a lovely film. When I saw it, I said, yes, this works. And you don't know, the screenplay to me works, which is always a great sign. Because sometimes, if you have a good script that you really feel works as you're reading it, as the story unfolds and as the characters unfold, you have a good chance.
Yeah.
But you never know. You just never know if it will be a subject that actually will catch the audience in a particular way, that make them feel like you're rather feeling, that it reminds you of something very deep that you hadn't really achieved and that you were sad about, and it brings it back. So when I saw the film, I said, yes, he got it. And I was really, really pleased. And he'd taken out scenes. He'd done a very clever edit. It wasn't exactly as the screenplay was. He'd done his own edit to pull you in more and more in a very, very minimalistic way, because he never liked one word too much, Matthew. He never liked overkill, and he doesn't like to be sentimental.
Wow.
And so he's got all that in a very spare film. And everything. I love that.
Wow.
Because what happens in a spare film is that the audience starts to put their words in, the audience starts to put their own feelings in. They're not being told what to feel and what to do. They're actually bringing their own emotions in.
So spot on.
That's powerful filmmaking.
So spot on. Please come back to this show anytime in the future, Charlotte. The door is always going to be open for you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'd love to come back to New York, that's for sure. So maybe see you sometime.
Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
Yes, I will be. Thank you. After all you said, I'm very happy.